Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to a look at the National Hockey League standings. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. I'm still waiting for the Western Conference standings to solidify at NHL.com. They're taking their time, even though there's no games going on right now. The biggest shocker, and it still remains to be, the Washington Capitals, who started off the Week 6 in 14th place and now find themselves solidly in 3rd place with 48 points. Their closest competitor, the Winnipeg Jets, have 44 points. And if the playoffs were to start today, the Ottawa Senators would be playing them. I would love to see that series. Other things, Sidney Crosby's injury has not affected the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've won their last 4. They have an 8-2-0 record in their last 10 games and have 64 points, way ahead of anybody anywhere near them. Montreal, 57 points. They lost their last game badly to Toronto. It's funny how they clinch a playoff spot and just go to sleep. And then the Boston Bruins with 56 points, 1 point behind Montreal, although they're having a hard time lately. Their record is 5-4-1. They've lost their last 2. Let's hope Boston turns their game around. Toronto, they've won their last game, 7-1-2 in their last 10. They're doing well. The Senators finally started winning again with a .500 record over the last 10. And right behind them with 1 point back, the New York Islanders, the surprise of the East, as well as the Washington Capitals, have finally come around. They're doing very well with Tavares, 7-1-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game, but they're only 1 point behind Ottawa. And finally, in 8th place, the New York Rangers at 46 points. So that group is holding close together, and it might change by the end of next week. That's it for the East. Now for the West. The Chicago Blackhawks are right back at it again. They've won their last 5 games. Last 10 are 8-1-1. Watch them today. They are so dominant. Good luck to anybody who has to play them in the first round. And at this moment, it's the Detroit Red Wings. Anaheim, not so much. They've lost their last 2. They're at 5-4-1. Vancouver is doing much better at 7-3-0. As Los Angeles at 6-2-2. They've won their last 2. And the rest of them, well, it's pretty well what it was. San Jose, St. Louis. And St. Louis is riding Brian Elliott's coattails, who finally found his game. Again, he was remarkable today in the loss, but he hadn't been scored on in 3 games and 2 periods. It was 3 games, and it was a long time since he'd been scored on, and he'd won his last 5 games, and he'd allowed very few goals in that time period. Well, I've got that one backwards. St. Louis is actually 6-4-0, and Minnesota is 3-6-1. Although St. Louis has lost their last 2, but St. Louis is doing much better, and they're in the playoffs. And Detroit just crawled into a spot after being out last week. Other than that, Dallas is 1-5, but they're still out. Columbus is 1-3. They were in, now they're out. These people keep jumping back and forth in and out of standings. And I've also, don't forget, included how many games are remaining. Pretty well everybody's between 7 and 5. Well, one team's got 5 games. The rest have 7 and 6. So, and Edmonton Oilers lost 5. Nashville's lost 6. They're completely out of it. And Calgary, as well as the Colorado, are not going to make the playoffs. So that's it. See you next Monday. That'll be my last video, by the way.